Good afternoon. It's Thursday. It's 3 o'clock, and it's time for you to be adrenalized. That's right, folks. It's time to get that blood flowing and get re-energized. Why? Because you're here. Because you're alive, and it's time to be motivated to be your best self. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tom Marino Show. I am Tom Marino, your host, success strategy coach, and I am so glad that you are tuning in. I hope that you're having a great day. It's getting a little warmer out there today. Yesterday, we had some snow flurries on March 9th. We want to get to the end of this winter. I sent out my newsletter this week, and the heading and the subject of the newsletter was "Winter is coming, ... to an end," for all you Game of Thrones fans out there. Listen, I want to hear from you. I want you to visit tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com. Go to the radio page, leave a comment, submit a question. That's tommarino.com. And I want to hear from you right now. We are live in the studio. Please give us a call at 631-451-1039. That's 631-451-1039. Call in. Tell us what you're working on. Tell us what you're struggling with. Tell me what you are procrastinating on. We're going to talk about procrastination today in the show, but we'll talk about it a little later. But before we get to that, we have a couple things I did want to talk about. This past Tuesday, a couple days ago, we celebrated International Women's Day, and Women's History Month is this month. And I just want to take a minute to acknowledge all of the amazing women in my life. My wife, my daughter, my mother, my mother-in-law, my sister, my sister-in-law, my aunt, my aunts, my cousins, all of those amazing women out there who are just incredible inspirations and just amazing people. Especially, I want to talk specifically about my wife, Kristen. She is just an incredible person. She's doing so many amazing things in her career. She does so many things amazing to take care of our home and to make sure our kids have everything that they need. So I just want to recognize her on this Women's History Month and this, what was Tuesday, International Women's Day. But we have a special guest in the studio with us today. Today is back to parent-teacher conferences at our elementary school. And today, my daughter Madeline is joining us in the studio. You want to say hello, Madeline?
Hi.
All right. Madeline is saying hello on the radio. You excited to be here, Maddie?
Yes.
Okay. You having fun so far?
Well, the show hasn't even started.
Well, it just started, but we're having a little bit of fun. You see, that's what I get, folks. We try to have a little bit of fun, and we get the truth. So I guess you're not having that much fun yet, but we'll have fun throughout the course of the show. Mm-hmm. And I just want to give a shout out to Maddie because she is celebrating a very special day on Sunday. It is her 11th birthday. So happy birthday, Maddie.
Thank you.
We're just celebrating women all around today. And let me tell you, Maddie is one of the strongest little girls that I know. She does so many amazing things. She is just an incredible person. She's always there to take care of us in our moments of crisis. And I just love that she's my daughter. So thank you, Maddie, for being such an amazing kid.
You're welcome.
All right. Awesome. So, gratitude is such an important thing. And we don't do enough of that. We don't do enough of expressing gratitude. One of the things that I want to talk about today, in addition to procrastination, is just a follow-up to last week's show on mindset. And we're going to talk specifically about gratefulness versus lack mindset, or abundance versus lack mindset, just very briefly, because I really want to get into the procrastination talk. And I also want to hear from you. So if you are listening and you're just tuning in, this is Tom Marino, and welcome to the Tom Marino Show. I am your success strategy coach, and I want to hear from you. So give us a call at 631-451-1039 and tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life that you're working through right now. Call in, tell me what you're grateful for. And if you want to just give a shout out to someone, a very special woman in your life that you want to recognize, give us a call. Let's recognize those amazing people out there. Because, a lot of our life, we don't spend time celebrating our victories. We don't celebrate enough sometimes. We get caught up in the mundane and we forget to celebrate. And that's really what grateful mindset versus a lacking mindset is all about. Every day, make it a practice to express gratitude. We need to celebrate all of the things that are happening for us and take an opportunity to be grateful for the things that we have and not the things that we don't have. We have to be grateful for the things we have and the things that we still don't have. But when we live in a lack mindset, when we come from a place of lack, when we come from a place of scarcity, we're always focused on what we don't have. And we forget to be grateful for what we don't have yet. And it's really important to take a minute and really concentrate on what I just said. So clear your head for a moment. What is the thing that you are most grateful for? I'm most grateful to be here. I'm most grateful for the opportunity to be alive, to be living, even though we have all of these troubles and turmoils. Because I know that if I continue to put out gratitude for the things that I have, more and more is going to find its way to me. I'm grateful for all of the clients that I have. I'm grateful for all the clients I've had the opportunity to serve. And you know what? I'm even grateful for the people who have yet to become my client. And it's so important to express that gratitude. If there is something that you want, express it in gratitude that you're going to have it, that you're going to be awarded it. I talk about in my book, Tyler Perry. And, before Tyler Perry made his success and he was successful, he used to go to open houses at mansions. And he used to say, I live here. And he'd go test drive high-end cars. He'd go test drive Porsches and Lamborghinis. And he would go and do those things. And he would say, I drive these cars. He was putting out gratitude for things that he did not have yet. But when we put out gratitude from the things we don't have yet, we will get them. And that is a much better place to be than saying, I want them. Be grateful for the things that you don't have right now, because there's a reason you don't have them. You may not be ready for them. But we all have to put our focus on being grateful for what we do have. So give me a call, 631-451-1039, and let me know what you're grateful for. We sometimes, forget, and my wife called me out on this the other night. I said, you know what, we're running a little short on some cash this week, and we got to pay a lot of bills, and there's a lot of things, expenses that are coming up. And she said, stop saying that. We have what we need. The rest is going to flow in. And it's true. It's true. And be grateful for what you have. Be grateful that if you have the money to pay all of your bills, don't complain about those bills. If you don't have the money, that's a different story. But be grateful that you are here, that you have opportunity to do something about it. So it's really important to not lead from a place of lack, but from a place of gratitude and gratefulness. And the more grateful we are, the more we put out there into the universe, the more we will realize a reality that is very different than what we are living right now. Especially now, when things are so tough in the world. It's not getting any easier, but we have to embrace a mindset that things are happening for us and that we're going to continue to thrive. And we're not going to just survive. We are going to thrive, but we're going to thrive in gratitude. All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, but I want to hear from you. Give me a call at 631-451-1039. That's 631-451-1039. And we will be back right after this break.
Happiness is the truth, because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Because I'm happy. Clap along.
And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, Tom Marino, Success Strategy Coach. If you're tuning in for the first time today, we are just wrapping up a conversation on gratefulness and lack mindset. Just a continuation of our conversation last week on mindset, the adrenalized mindset we talked about last week, and that was about acting decisively. Before we move into what I want to talk about today on procrastination, because I know there's a lot of procrastinators out there. I know that there's a ton of procrastinators, and we all procrastinate for many reasons. But before we move on to that portion of the show, I'm joined today in the studio by my daughter Madeline, who's going to turn 11 on Sunday. So we're very excited to have her here in the studio. Maddie, what is something that you are grateful for?
Probably my family and friends.
Okay. And why are you grateful for them?
Because they do a lot for me.
They do a lot for you? Good.
Yes.
So you are happy and grateful that people are there to do a lot for you, right?
Yes.
All right. Do you say thank you to them?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Awesome. Always say thank you, right? We have to always appreciate when people do stuff for us to express our gratitude, right? Gratefulness, gratitude, it's all about being thankful, right? So I'm thankful for you, and I'm glad that you're thankful for everybody in your life. So are you excited for your birthday on Sunday?
Yes, of course.
Okay. What is something that you really hope that you're getting for your birthday?
Gift cards.
Gift cards, right? You want some gift cards? You want to go shopping?
Yeah.
Yeah, Maddie's favorite thing to do is to go shopping. She loves to shop at Denny's in Belmore. So shout out to Denny's in Belmore for supplying Maddie with her clothing that we wind up buying for you, right?
Yeah.
But you're always so grateful when you get those things. You always say thankful for that, and I appreciate that. And that's what we have to remember to do, right? We have to remember to teach people to be grateful for everything that we have and everything that we still don't have, because it will come, right? Awesome. All right, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of today's show. So this is Tom Marino and the Tom Marino Show, and if you're just joining us, we're going to talk about procrastination now, right? Last week, we talked about the adrenalized mindset. And the adrenalized mindset is all about acting decisively, right? It's having the tools and the skills and the abilities to be able to act decisively, to be empowered to act decisively. Well, procrastination is the exact opposite of that, right? So how many of you, I'm going to ask this question, how many of you out there are putting off doing something? Who are you out there is postponing taking an action or making a decision? Because that's what procrastination is. It's putting off making that decision or putting it off taking that action step, right? It's an unnecessary delay in taking action. That's what procrastination is. And what are some of the ways that you procrastinate, right? I know that I procrastinate because I like to think about things instead of just doing them sometimes. Right? That's one of the ways I often procrastinate, is by thinking about doing something instead of just doing it. Is that you? Are you putting off doing something and you prefer to just think about it? Another way you procrastinate is by starting and stopping a task, picking it up, putting it down, coming back to it. When there's things that we have to work on versus what we want to work on, we tend to procrastinate. The have to always becomes very difficult for us. The have to is always a difficult thing because we feel that we lose some control. So is that a reason why you procrastinate? Do you start certain tasks out of habit or because you enjoy doing them, right? Do you just defer to doing something you enjoy and that makes you procrastinate from the thing that you're supposed to be doing? Do you treat every task as a high priority? This is a big one, right? This comes back to like when I talk about with my clients wearing the busy badge. And last week I did a presentation for Long Island Networkers and I mentioned the busy badge and it hit some nerves with some people. Being busy is not necessarily a good thing for you depending on how you're looking at it. Being busy, being occupied working on stuff, being productive is a better way to frame being busy, because we shouldn't be busy. We should be productive. We should be productive, and we should be focused, and we should be adrenalized, acting decisively to carry out the things that we need to do every day. Because being productive, when you say the word right now, productive. Doesn't that feel good? I've been so productive today. Productive. You're producing something. You're completing something. What is something that you produced today? What was something that you did at work or that you're working on at home right now? What is that productive activity that you're doing? It could be exercise. I love when I know I'm going to have a productive day when I exercise. That's one of the things that gets me excited in the morning to get up and exercise, is knowing that my benefit at the end of the day is going to be a very productive day. And it's part of taking care of yourself too. That's something we have to acknowledge. Being productive is a way of self-care, because if you're productive, you feel accomplished. If you feel accomplished, you feel satisfied. If you feel satisfied, you're hopefully happy. So that's one thing just to think about. Not everything is a high priority. Decide what you're going to make the impact on. What thing are you going to do today that has the greatest impact? How are you going to be productive and have the greatest impact? So if you can take an action step away from this conversation, the action step you should take away is, I'm going to stop saying I'm busy, and I'm going to start to say I'm productive. It's a little shift in mindset, just a little shift. It's a shift in language, but it's a necessary shift in language. Be productive, not busy. Because if you're busy, you're not prioritizing. If you're busy, you're not separating the things that are most important to be done versus the things that shouldn't be done. And that's where procrastination comes in. And then sometimes you get hit with a new task. Your boss comes over to you, says, "Hey, Joe, can you work on this project for me?" "Oh, all right, sure. But I got to do this project over here." "Yeah, take a minute, do this. That's not as important right now." So sometimes we get distracted, and then we wind up procrastinating on doing the other thing because now we're focused on something new. And that's going to happen to us at any time. So why do we procrastinate? Why do we procrastinate? Well, there's a lot of people out there that procrastinate because of a fear of failure, because of anxiety, because of a perceived lack of control. And I mentioned that earlier, that when we have to do something, we feel like we've lost control over the situation because we haven't expressed the desire, or it's not coming from a place of wanting to do something. So a perceived lack of control is a reason why people procrastinate. Indecisiveness, well, that's a simple one. You don't like the task that you have to do, so you procrastinate. Sometimes we just lack the energy and the motivation to do it. We're mentally exhausted. And oh my goodness, can I just tell you, this is the thing that my clients that I'm having to swoop in and help them with. Last 2 days, I've had 2 different very successful people call me and say, "I just don't care anymore. I just don't give a crap anymore. I'm trying to do my best, but I just am so exhausted mentally. I can't give it the space. I can't give my work the space. So I'm procrastinating on it. I'm not doing what I need to do." And it's because you're exhausted. And these are the major signs of burnout. When I talk about burnout with my clients, right, when they'll come and they'll say, "I'm exhausted. I'm mentally and physically exhausted. I just can't do it anymore." That is a key sign that burnout is setting in, that overwhelm has already set in. So if you're finding yourself procrastinating because you're exhausted mentally, physically, you're procrastinating for a good reason. It's probably because you're a bit stressed out, burnt out, a little overwhelmed, and you've now lost focus. You've lost some motivation. So we're going to continue our conversation about procrastination after this break. But I want to hear from you. Can you DM me at Tom Marino Coaching on Instagram? DM me at Tom Marino Coaching on Instagram and tell me something that you're procrastinating on. Let's have a conversation. Let's get you out of that funk. Let's get you moving forward. So follow me on Instagram at Tom Marino Coaching. All right, we'll see you. We'll talk to you right after this break.
Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel.
And good afternoon again, and welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, Tom Marino. Thank you for tuning in. Today we are talking about procrastination. We started out the show, the first half, talking a little bit about gratefulness and being grateful for everything that you have. And then we pivoted into this world of procrastination. And I have a very special guest here with me in the studio. My daughter Madeline is here. She's celebrating an 11th birthday on Sunday. And we are so excited for her birthday weekend. We have a whole bunch of plans, right, Maddie?
Yeah.
What are we doing on Saturday?
A bunch of my friends are gonna come over, and then we're gonna go get our nails done, and then we're gonna go to this cool milkshake place.
Ah, very cool. That's going to be exciting. And I have to drive, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to drive. I guess I'm going to have, me and Mom are going to have to split up, right? Because we have a bunch of girls coming, right?
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. And you excited?
Yeah.
Are you having fun so far today?
Yes.
All right. Now, you see, look at that. 10 minutes into the show, not having as much fun. Now you're having more fun, right? This is pretty cool, right? Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right. So Maddie, we're talking about procrastination, right? Mm-hmm. What do you like to procrastinate on?
Doing my homework.
Yeah, doing your homework. You know, a lot of kids procrastinate on doing their homework, right?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you procrastinate on doing your homework? Why?
Because I hate it.
I love it. So Maddie is off today because of parent-teacher conferences in our school district. And, you know, I'm going to go meet with her teacher after this show. So I hope he's not listening. But he will listen at some point. But, you know, yeah, we do procrastinate. I don't like to do some work sometimes, right? So my work is like your homework sometimes. Like I don't want to have to do all the paperwork and do all the bookkeeping and do everything for the business that we have to do, but we do it, right?
Yeah.
Because what's one of the benefits of doing your homework?
Well, I like to do my homework so I feel prepared for the next day.
Right? And what else do you get out of your homework sometimes?
I learned more things out of my homework.
Exactly. And it's an opportunity to learn, right? Mm-hmm. So even though sometimes we don't like what we're doing, there is opportunity to learn from it, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and that's what I tell people all the time, Maddie. I say to people that sometimes when we're going through difficult times and we're struggling, that sometimes it is really an opportunity to learn. We have an opportunity to learn from those bad situations or those tough situations. So listen, if you're struggling and procrastinating a bit and you're procrastinating on something and you want a little bit of advice how to get past that, give us a call. We're live in the studio right now. It is about 3:40. We're about to hit the 3:40 mark. And I want to hear from you. So call us 631-451-1039. 631-451-1039. One of the things I did want to talk about a little bit more is why we procrastinate. We kind of emphasized the lack of energy, the mental exhaustion, the physical exhaustion. You know, another big reason for why people procrastinate is perfectionism. All month I've been talking about in my newsletter. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter yet, please visit tommarino.com and sign up for the newsletter. Once a month, I just send out a very brief newsletter, just some fuel for thought. I don't bombard you during the month with a bunch of things in your inbox. You maybe get 2 messages from me over the course of the month, and that includes the newsletter and maybe some other big announcement. But, you know, sign up for the newsletter because this month I talked about progress over perfection, right? And we tend to focus on not doing something if we can't do it perfectly. So if we can't do it perfectly, why do it at all? Right? So a lot of people procrastinate if they can't do something perfectly. And that's what gets in our way. So the other thing is we set these very vague goals sometimes. We set too vague of a goal. So when we have vague goals, things that are not very specific, we tend to procrastinate. because we're not sure what the real tangible outcome is going to be, right? I'm going to lose weight. That's a goal. It's not very specific, but it's a goal. But I'm going to lose 20 pounds by June 30th. Well, now I have something to strive for. Now I have something to take action towards. And sometimes part of procrastination, well, the definition of procrastination is avoiding action, avoiding taking action, of putting off or delaying taking action. And that's, if you have a vague goal, you don't necessarily have clear action steps to get to that goal. So the more specific you are about it, the better it's going to be. If you're just tuning in, this is Tom Marino and the Tom Marino Show. I'm your success strategy coach. Today we're talking about procrastination. And, you know, we have so much to do, right? We all feel that we have so much to do. And I mentioned earlier to get rid of that word busy and focus on being productive, right? Just change your language. But one of the things that causes us to feel like we're very busy is actually procrastination, right? Because if you haven't done something that you were supposed to do already, well, you still have to do it. Well, that kind of makes you feel busy that you still have stuff to do. So, but if you're productive, that means you probably did it already. So it's just a simple language change, a simple language adjustment can help you to change your lack of action and your procrastination and to actually take action on something. So one of the things I want to move over to is this perceived lack of control. We usually put off doing something if we feel like we have to and we feel like we don't have control over it. And control is a very important and essential want that people have. A lot of people want control. Very few people, many people, do not want to be controlled. They want to control their destiny. They want to control their life. You know, sometimes our kids want to be in control, right, Maddie? Sometimes you and your brother, you want to be in control of the situation.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't want to listen to what mom and dad have to say.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, when we're trying to control a situation, why is it that we're trying to control the situation?
I don't know.
Is it because we want you to be safe and we want you to do a good thing, right? So sometimes to be controlled is a little bit necessary, especially parents and children. You have to control certain things. But at some point, parents have to relinquish that control, right? When you get older, when you're 18 and you start to make decisions for yourself, some parents have to relinquish that control, right? But we also, when we're working on something or we're procrastinating working on something, we have a perceived lack of control on that project. But how do we regain control of the situation? How do we satisfy that want of control? And there's two things that I'm going to discuss now, and we're going to probably carry over into the next portion of the show, is this idea of a locus of control. And a locus is our point of origin, right? Where do you see your control? You either see your control as internally oriented or externally oriented. Internally or externally. Internal control is the belief of a high degree of control over your life. I'm in control of my life. I'm always in control no matter what the situation. I have full control. That's an internal locus. Externally oriented. An external locus of control is a belief of low degree control over your life where external factors influence you. External factors influence you when you have an external locus of control. It kind of goes back to that mindset of the world happens to you versus the world happens for you, right? If you tend to take on the victim mindset of things, why does this happen to me? It's because you're letting external factors, external variables control you. But if you live in a for you mindset, if you live in a place where you are internally oriented, you recognize that things happen for you and you are in control over those things and those opportunities that are presented. All right, listen, we're going to come back after this commercial break and we're going to talk a little bit more about locus of control and procrastination. But I want you to DM me at Instagram at Tom Marino Coaching. I want you to follow me on Instagram, please. DM me. Tell me something you're procrastinating on. Let's get talking about it. And I want to hear from you. 631-451-1039. Give us a call after the break.
Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Because I'm happy. Clap along if
And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, Tom Marino, success strategy coach. So glad that you are tuning in right now. I hope that you're having a great day. I want to give a shout out to a few other special ladies. We were talking about International Women's Day. I did not mention my nieces, Kaylee and Ava. So if they're listening right now, Uncle Tom is wishing you a very happy Women's History Month. And you are both incredible kids. So keep things going. So here we go. We were talking before the break about perceived lack of control. And we were talking about the locuses of control. And we talked about internal locus versus external locus. And it's really important for you to recognize when you start to procrastinate on something, when you don't want to do something, try to establish and understand where your sense of control is. And this doesn't just work for you when you are procrastinating. This is a really important thing to take hold of. And it's one of the things that helps people to be more decisive, is to recognize where their locus of control sits, right? So if you are in a tough situation right now, so I don't know, maybe your situation is that your company is doing something different. They're laying people off, or they're being really difficult, or they're increasing the amount of work, whatever that situation is. If it's really hard for you right now, you have many choices. If you're externally oriented to control, you're going to let all of those things get to you. You're going to let all of those things bother you, and it's going to take away your joy. It's going to take away the things that really upset you, that make you happy, and it's going to in turn upset you. You know, it's really important that you reestablish and understand that you have control in every situation. Because the control you always possess is how you choose to respond to the difficult situation. That's the control you always maintain. How you decide to respond to the situation. If you decide to respond where you let it bother you, then that is still your control, but it's not as fixated on the external. It is based on your decision. You have to be very aware of your decisions and how you want to control what it is that you're doing. You know, I get this question all the time, and I actually posted about this today on LinkedIn. And you can follow me on LinkedIn as well, Tom Marino, success strategy coach. You'll find me. But on LinkedIn, I wrote this post specifically to independent business owners, because the question that I often hear from independent business owners is, if I love what I do, why am I so unhappy? If I love what I do, it's not really work, right? So why am I so unhappy? And the answer most of the time is because you're relinquishing your control to something. You're relinquishing your control. You're losing control of the situation. And it often revolves around people, right? It often revolves around, I can't rely on this person. I can't trust this person. We all have people that work for us. And whatever line of work you're in, whatever business you're in, you're always going to have people. And as long as people are involved, you're going to have their needs to address. You're going to have their issues to manage through. And you have to decide how you want to manage through that. You have to see that you can reestablish the control in the situation. You have the opportunity to control the situation. And your opportunity is to change it. But you have to create boundaries as well, because it always comes down to the boundaries that you need around your control. Because if you let somebody's unhappiness creep into your unhappiness, and you let their issues become your issues, well, that's going to be a really difficult thing for you to manage through. So if you love what you do, but you're unhappy right now, send me a message. Go to my Instagram at Tom Marino Coaching, or go to LinkedIn and find Tom Marino. Send me a message. Go to my website, visit tommarino.com. Send me a message. Let's talk about if you're unhappy because and you love what you do, because you should always love what you do. But if it's other things are getting in the way, it's maybe because you're losing some control. Maybe you're mentally exhausted. Maybe you're on that precipice of burnout. But it's really important to understand that you always have control in any situation, because you always have control of yourself and how you choose to respond to that. And that's kind of one of the things that really hits people when I talk about procrastination is what they can control. Now, how do you stop procrastinating, right? How do we stop procrastinating? How do we change this? Well, the goal is to procrastinate on things that don't have a lot of value and do the things that have a lot of value. So procrastinate on something different. Procrastinate on something that's going to have minimal to no impact on your life. That's the thing you can put off. The thing that's nice to have when you have other priorities that really you should be taking care of. That's how you stop procrastinating. You should start to focus on things that are lower impact, more impactful, and you procrastinate on the things that are less impactful, the things that really don't matter. So start to procrastinate on other things, the things that don't make sense. And it's important to understand priority, right? Learn how to say no to things that are not vital and are going to cause you significant disruption in your life if that doesn't happen. Learn to say no and start to say yes to the right things. You have to start to say yes to the right things, because that is a distinct boundary that you draw. That's how you start to develop your priorities. And if you have your priorities in check, you'll procrastinate less. So you got to be a little creative with your procrastination. Okay? Be very creative with your procrastination, right? There's a great exercise that I go through with my clients that I would recommend you to do. What activities do you find yourself spending a lot of time on that don't add value to your life? What are those things that don't add value? Sometimes watching TV, sometimes binge watching stuff on Netflix or Hulu or one of the other platforms, right? How much time do you spend on those things? How many hours do you spend on those things? Because the bottom line is some people procrastinate and they say they don't have enough time. And the problem is they're doing and prioritizing the things that take too much time. So just do a quick inventory and see how much time in a week, in a day, that you spend doing something that's of little value to you. Gain back some of your control over your life. Don't procrastinate any longer on things that are important. Only procrastinate on things that aren't important, like watching television, like binge watching episodes on Netflix. Those are the things that will cloud your priorities. And once you see how much time you spend on those in a week, just take back half of that and work on things that provide value to your life. Work on things that provide value. And if you're having difficulty with that, get in touch with me. I can help you. That's what I do, people. I help you to get over your procrastination, your mental exhaustion, your perfectionism, your stress, your overwhelm. I give you the skills and the tools to be able to lead productive, focused, and energized lives. So my challenge again for today, one thing I'd like you to take away from this episode is choose to change your word from I'm busy to I'm productive. All right? I'm busy to I'm productive, and things will get better. All right, this has been Tom Marino and the Tom Marino Show. Like I said, visit me at tommarino.com. Also follow me on Instagram at Tom Marino Coaching. I give away free success strategy sessions, complimentary sessions for 30 minutes. If you're an independent business owner, you are an entrepreneur, you're an executive, or you're someone who wants to achieve one of those 3 types of individuals and become one of those, reach out to me and I can help you. This is Tom Marino signing off till next week, saying choose your adrenalized life.
Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.